After hosting family and friends for Thanksgiving, now it's time to host the defending Stanley Cup champions as the Carolina Hurricanes have a Friday afternoon matinee to keep their winning streak alive.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everyday for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the credentialed Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers, also the co-host of the Surgecast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got a fun Friday show for you guys as the Carolina Hurricanes will be hosting the Florida Panthers for a 3 p.m. puck drop for a home-and-home set against the defending Stanley Cup champions. Also going to do the keys to the game of what the Hurricanes need to do to keep their streak alive and push it to 3 straight wins. And who are the players to watch? Obviously, there's going to be one that's very noticeable that we're going to have to talk about, especially the season he's having, and maybe a couple others that, maybe are on the rise or just need to keep maintaining what they are doing. But before we jump into all that today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Now, like I said, after having, hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Hope everyone got to enjoy family and get time with family, got to spend time with some friends, and hopefully eat some really good food. And, I guess watching football since there was no hockey on Thursday, pretty much everyone took a break. And now it seems like everyone is playing on Friday. But your Carolina Hurricanes are playing on a Friday, and it is a 3 p.m. Eastern puck drop. So an earlier afternoon matinee game on Black Friday. Hopefully you get some good Black Friday deals before you go to the game, or even at the game too, because you never know. But the game will be on at FanDuel Sports Network South, along with 99.9 The Fan per usual, with Mike and Tripp on the call for both sides. The Carolina Hurricanes are 16-5-1 after winning their last 2 games over the Dallas Stars and the New York Rangers. The Panthers are 13-9-1. So this is the first of a 3-game season series. Matchups between the two teams, of course, today at 3 p.m., then Saturday at 4 p.m. for the home-and-home back-to-back. And then the third and final game between the two sides is going to be at 7 p.m. in Florida on January the 2nd. So pretty much within proximity, like a month and a couple days of each other, these two teams will face each other 3 times, and that will be it. Now, in terms of the last 5 games, Sebastian Aho is leading the team in points, goals, and assists. 3 goals, 6 assists, and 9 points. Carter Verhaeghe leads the Panthers in points with 6 and assists with 4, while Sam Reinhart has 4 goals for the Panthers. Now, looking at the tail of the tape, looking at the Florida Panthers, you can definitely tell where they're very strong in, where they're not so great at playing right now as a team. But if you look at the Hurricanes, they're pretty much within the same amount of range of where they are stats-wise in terms of placement. And when you look at an overall comparison of what the Hurricanes are, they're probably one of the most complete teams in terms of looking at overall team stats. Now, for the power play, the Florida Panthers are 9th in the AHL at 23%, while Carolina is actually 7th at 27.8%. Penalty kill-wise, Carolina is 6th with 84.2% compared to the Florida Panthers' 80.3%. So special teams-wise, this could be a very interesting matchup for the fact that Carolina is within the top 7 on both sides of the power play and the penalty kill, while Florida is relatively close at 9th and 12th. So if it does come down to a special teams matchup, I think this could be very, very interesting for both sides, especially with the fact that Carolina is a little bit better than Florida in that aspect, but the Florida Panthers are still within the top half of the league. Face-off percentage, Carolina at 52.5, which is 7th compared to the Florida Panthers' 47%. Now, this is where it gets really interesting in terms of the goals for and goals allowed per game. Carolina is still keeping up their 4 goals per game average, as we saw against the New York Rangers, how they won 4-3, and then of course you look back at how they won 6-4 against the Dallas Stars. So they're still averaging 4, which is second in the NHL, compared to the Florida Panthers, who have a 3.43, which is 6. Now, this is the small caveat of how that's working out. The Hurricanes are second in goals for. They're also third in goals allowed at 2.59. They are a team that's not giving a lot of goals, and they're limiting chances for the other teams. While the Florida Panthers, while they are scoring 3.43 goals per game, they're also allowing 3.35 goals per game, which is 26 in the NHL. So there's a big discrepancy for the Panthers of they are scoring a lot at almost 3.5 per game, but they're also allowing almost 3.3 per game. So you're going from 6 to 26 in that aspect, where the Hurricanes are second and third. So you can definitely tell there's a good, for the Hurricanes at least, they're finding ways to create more of their own chances while limiting the other team's chances. And that's when you see the shot totals for most games, where it's like there's a big difference for the Hurricanes, where they're like 30 to 40 shots while they're only allowing like 17 and 19. And that's, maybe you get about 20, 22. That's the thing with a Rod Brind'Amour team, is the fact that they do a high quantity shot totals. You will see some quality here and there, but especially this season, they're doing a lot more better, or they're basically doing far better in terms of more quality shots, more, high danger chances closer to the net. Hurricanes are doing a lot of perimeter shooting like they used to. Now that you see them crashing in a little bit more, being able to get to the greasy goals and stuff like that, basically getting you those playoff goals that you're looking for when the playoffs start. So that's why you see them shooting at a better range, but it's more quality, high danger chances, and that's why you see them scoring so many goals. Like I said, you're averaging 4 goals a game, which is second in the NHL. That's pretty huge. You don't really see Carolina that high in terms of goals. And of course, goals allowed, I mean, that's not surprising. This team is so good structurally on the defense that's why you don't see them giving up so many chances to other teams, and that's why most of the games are usually close. And that's why their average is so low, because of the fact they're just not giving up a lot of goals. And actually, even with the goalie situation of where they're down to their third and fourth string goalies as their tandem right now. Of course, we're waiting to see if Pierre Tkachuk is ready to go for the weekend, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll get to that here in a little bit. And for the Florida Panthers, they're scoring goals, but they're also giving up a lot as well, and it's almost breaking them close to even. And I think that's when you look at where they're at in terms of the goaltending situation. Sergei Bobrovsky is at 10-5-1 with 305 goals against and an 889 save percentage. He does have one shutout, but Spencer Knight, it's 3-4 with a 263 goals against and a 902 save percentage. So while Spencer Knight's giving up less goals and has a better save percentage, his record is under 500. And even Bobrovsky is allowing 3 goals a game under the 890 save percentage, but he does have a 10-5-1 record. So that's just, it really shows how you look at certain individual numbers, but the win-loss, of course, that shouldn't really be a goalie stat, but it is what it is. You look at where Knight is better in terms of goals against and save percentage, but the team's not winning as much, where Bobrovsky is giving up a lot more, but the team's finding ways to win. Well, when you look at the Carolina Hurricanes, Pierre Tkachuk is 10-2-0 with a 242 goals against and a 904 save percentage. And then when you're, looking at where you're at with Spencer Martin and how he's been playing, he's been playing pretty decently, all things considered, for the fact that, back-to-back wins against Dallas and also against New York Rangers. Those were some pretty close games. He right now has a 3-2-0-1 record with a 3.33 goals against and an 856 save percentage. Of course, the game against Dallas and the Rangers, he did give up a lot of goals on a very limited number of shots, and that's why you see his save percentage probably in the high 700s, low 800s. So that's why his save percentage looks so off, but his goals against are it's not where you really want it to be. But when Frederik Andersen's healthy, 3-1 with a 148 and 941 save percentage, but of course, Frederik Andersen is not going to be available still for a little while, so hopefully his recovery is going well, but you hopefully get Piotr back soon and stuff like that. Now, real quick, Over the last 10 games, the Florida Panthers are 4-6. They did beat Toronto the other day, but that's coming off of a 4-game losing streak that saw them lose to Winnipeg, Chicago, Colorado, and Washington. Your Carolina Hurricanes are 6-3-1. Of course, that's after winning against Dallas and the New York Rangers, and that was after losing to the Blue Jackets in a shootout and the New Jersey Devils, that 3-game streak beforehand. So overall, not too bad when it comes for your Carolina Hurricanes. The fact that they're actually playing better hockey, and especially going into this week where a lot of people thought they might struggle with their goaltending situation, but they're finding ways to get the saves when they need to, and they're also scoring when they need to as well. And of course, doing it in a comeback fashion, while it's fun, not always the greatest thing to see when you have to do it from a comeback. You hopefully want to try and put teams away early, but either way, the shows isn't going to quit in this team. They're finding ways to get the job done despite being in certain situations, especially with goaltending. Now, with all that being said, what are the keys to the game? Well, we'll do that here in a second, so stick around as I'll talk about what 3 things the Carolina Hurricanes need to do to win against the Florida Panthers this afternoon. So stick around as we'll do that here in a second on a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks. It makes game tickets for your favorite live events even easier. It also filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And we're not just talking about sports. We're talking about concerts, comedy theaters, and so much more. If there's a Broadway play you want to go check out, well, they can help you out with that. If there's an AHL game you want to go to, or maybe there's another sporting event you want to go to, well, they can help you out with that as well. And with their all-in pricing feature, when you toggle this, it'll show you your total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Now, my favorite feature of this app is their seat viewfinder, because you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, so you don't have to worry about obstructed views or awkward angles or anything like that. It takes the guesswork out of buying tickets, and that's really what you want to do, is being able to just buy tickets without having to guess the whole process. And then you can do that with Gametime. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONAHL. It's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Well, it's game time. With the seasons changing, I'm already dreaming of a warm weather getaway. But not too soon, though, because we're still in the hockey season, and I'm definitely loving this hockey right now. But I love using points for travel, and I'm always looking for ways to earn more to book my next flight. Here's a life hack for you. Built lets you earn points on rent payments and redeem them towards flights, hotels, and a lot more. One of your biggest investments should get you more than just a roof over your head. Let me explain. There's no cost to join Built. As a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you even haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points toward. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access. So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNHL. Once again, that's joinbilt.com/LockedOnNHL. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Once again, that's joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNHL to start earning points on your rent payments today. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. Now, what are the 3 keys for the Carolina Hurricanes to keep their winning streak pushing this up to 3 and beating the defending Stanley Cup champions at home on a Friday afternoon? And it's the first one is, I think, when you look at, we've talked about other teams like Boston or Ottawa, the ones that you're always having to worry about not getting retaliatory penalties against and taking unnecessary ones. This is a team where you really don't want to take retaliatory penalties because for whatever reason, you still remember how that whole playoff series went 2 years ago where the Hurricanes were in the Eastern Conference Final against the Florida Panthers. That was just a tough series altogether. Florida kept finding ways to get the winner when the Hurricanes were a better team, but the Florida Panthers are still a team where they find a way to get under your skin, play very aggressive hockey, and it's something to where like they will. There's always something every time these two teams play each other. There's always a scrum. Almost after every whistle, there's always jawing at each other because when the Hurricanes won 1-0, last year with Sebastian was scoring late. There was a little brouhaha afterwards, or there's always something going on. So if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, that Florida, while they are having an okay season, like I said, they're still 13-9-1. They're still finding ways to win games, and for them, they are currently sitting second in their division. They've played one more game than the Maple Leafs, but they're 1 point behind. They're still trying to fight for, that to lead to the division. While, as the Carolina Hurricanes, you have played as many games as Washington. You played one more than the Rangers, but you have 3 games ahead on the New Jersey Devils, but you lead your division by a point. You have to find ways to not get suckered into the Florida Panthers' way of, oh, okay, we're going to find a way to get you off your game. We're going to find a way to get you upset and go down to our style of hockey where it's like we're just going to, play brash, in-your-face hockey, get you upset, make you, take that second retaliatory penalty, have your best guys off the ice, and take the unnecessary penalties. Because the thing is, like the 5-on-3s, it's happened a lot already this year for the Hurricanes. This is a game where that could easily run into a problem where you will take enough penalties to go back under the 5-on-3, and you don't want to do that. So I've said it for other teams, but I think this is probably one of the most notorious ones outside of what Boston used to be or some of the other teams that have kind of been known to do that. Florida is still the epitome of we're going to get in your face and make you take penalties. So if you're Carolina, you got to keep a cool head, find a way to not run into Matthew Tkachuk's nonsense or Sam Reinhart or any one of those guys, Sam Bennett. You got to find a way to not go into that. Don't run into that issue. And I think if you stick to your game, keep calmer heads, just let your game do the talking and let them jaw, that's fine. It's just you got to find a way to not fall into that trap. So that's the first key of the game. Just calm heads, just play it, just have a calm head. Don't fall into their nonsense. Don't go to their game. The other one is you still have to limit the chances on the Panthers because while they are scoring a good number of goals, they're still scoring a lot as well. Even though they're giving up a lot. While Spencer Martin is playing okay hockey, yes, he's getting you wins, but he is giving up some goals too. And you do have a .333 save goals against average. Your save percentage is in the mid 850s. You have to make the Panthers shoot a lot of perimeter shots and make easier shots for Spencer Martin to see. If you're giving up a lot of high danger chances, then you're going to run into Spencer Martin getting caught in certain positions, and the Panthers are going to find ways to score. Nothing against Spencer Martin. I like the guy. It's just you have to make the game a lot easier for him. And yes, you have the confidence that he's going to do his job. He has come up with some big saves. Like I said, he does have a shutout this year against the Senators, but you have to find ways to limit the Panthers on their high-quality chances and make shots easier on Spencer Martin. So that way he is having a more consistently better game for himself where he's not giving up 2-3 goals a game. Like you have to find a way for him to limit goals for them, and you have to limit their chances. So basically, it's just you got to play a really good structured perimeter defense to keep them out of the high danger chances, keep them away from the net, and just giving Spencer Martin better opportunities to make the saves that he needs to. Because if you give them a lot of chances in front of the crease or a lot of the high danger spots, then we could be running into some issues. So just like you said, trying to limit your penalties and not getting caught in certain situations. This is where you have to limit the high danger chances and make the Panthers play more perimeter style hockey instead of just crashing the net. Now, on the flip side, special teams. Special teams has to take advantage because the Panthers, they also do take penalties. While their penalty kill is within the top half of the league, you have to take advantage of what you're doing. You got, you went 2 for 2 on the power play against the Dallas Stars. You went 2 for 4 against the Rangers. You got to keep your power play going. And of course, your penalty kill has still been on fire too, but don't go on the 5-on-3. If you stick to just normal 5-on-4s, the penalty killers are doing their job. They're shutting teams down. But if you're on the power play, keep that momentum going, because if you're able to find a way to keep your special teams rolling like that, where you're getting 1 or 2 power play goals a game, you're setting yourself up for a better opportunity to put the other team on their back, on their back foot, back heel, however you want to phrase it. You're putting them in a tough situation to know where it's like, okay, if we're giving Carolina a power play, that's going to be tough because they are rolling. So if you keep up the pressure of what you've been doing over the last couple of games to win against Dallas, win against the Rangers, do it against Florida too. If you get a power play, cash in on those opportunities, because then that really puts the other team in a bad spot, because now they have to really fight back on, okay, we took a penalty, they scored, they took advantage, and now it's 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-1 or whatever the score is. You're putting pressure on them to where if they go on the penalty kill, now it makes them extra worried, because now they know that you are going to take advantage of those opportunities. So my 3 keys, it's just not getting caught in the Florida trap. It's basically calm heads, make the Panthers play a perimeter style hockey, and take advantage on the special teams. So those are my 3 keys of the game. If you have keys of the game that you guys are keeping an eye on for the Hurricanes, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to see what your keys are for the Hurricanes to win today's game. Now, that being said, we know what the Hurricanes need to do to win, but who are the players we need to keep an eye on to help get them there to that win? So stick around as we do the players to watch here in a second on a Friday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and then make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said at the end of segment 2, we know what the are for your Carolina Hurricanes to win, but who are the players we need to watch to help them get to that point of winning that said game? Well, if you're looking at the Carolina Hurricanes, obviously, you got all the big boys are stepping up. They're making their points necessary. A lot of the depth scoring is still there as well. You're seeing a lot of guys really stepping up huge, like Jack Roslovic, Jackson Blake, all those type of guys, Jack Drury. And I will say the one guy I'm really keeping an eye on, I want to keep an eye on, is Jackson Blake. Scored a big power play goal against the Rangers. Of course, it was the game winner. 7 goals, 2 points, 9 assists. He is a +2 this season. That's with him going up and down the lineup. Mostly been playing a lot of fourth line this year. But the fact is, Jackson Blake right now, in terms of the forwards, he's right now 8th in shooting. So he is the 8th most shots in terms of the forwards. Playing really good hockey, honestly. He's finding a way to put himself on the PP2 group and finding ways to score. Because that was the first goal for the power play 2 group, was against the Rangers. Of course, it was a huge one. But overall, he's been playing some really great hockey. He's showing why he deserves to be here. And even Rod Brind'Amour has said, I have to find ways to get this guy more ice time because that's how good he's playing. Jackson Blake has found a way to play himself in this is the most Rod Brind'Amour type of rookie to have right now on this team, and that's why he's playing so great. And that's why even with just 9 points in 22 games, he's still finding ways to get extra ice time, not just being on the quote-unquote fourth line. That's why you see him on the power play 2 group and in certain situations where, hey, this guy's struggling in the first line. We're going to throw you with Aho Jarvis. Or If someone's going on with the second line, they might throw him there too. So he's finding ways to make himself more versatile than just being a rookie on this team. And I think just way Jackson Blake's playing, especially how he's playing in front of the fans at Lenovo Center, I think we could be in store for another big Jackson Blake goal, especially with the fact after that Jack to Jackson connection from Wednesday's game against the Rangers, which was just an electric goal. I think right now Jackson Blake is someone who people really need to keep an eye on, especially for the Calder race for the Rookie of the Year, because everyone's talking about Mechkov and all these other guys, but I think the underrated player right now in terms of Calder talks is definitely Jackson Blake, and the way he's playing right now is phenomenal. So he's definitely someone I'm keeping an eye on. Now, the other guy I want to keep an eye on for today's game, and he's been playing really, really well lately too. And I think that you got to give this guy some flowers. What he's been doing is Jack Drury. Now, start of the year on the fourth line, he's been playing second line, 7 of the last couple games. I know a lot of people think that he's not really a bona fide second line center. Maybe not, but he's still someone who's versatile enough for Rod Brind'Amour to be like, hey, you're doing great on the fourth line. Hey, your face-off percentage is really good this year. I need you in certain situations. And, hey, we need you on the second line right now to get some spark going. And he's been playing pretty well, all things considered. And for the fact that, being part of that assist, scored the first goal of the game, too, against the Rangers. So a multi-point night for him. Even against Dallas, he had a 71 at one point. He had a 71% on his face-off percentage. Which is really good considering the fact that you're learning from Jordan Staal is really good at it. Of course, you got Rod Brind'Amour, who was probably one of the best face-off guys in the NHL. So seeing how Jackson Blake got that 2-year contract extension, comes into the season, he's not lighting the absolute world on fire, but you're still looking at the fact that he still has 3 goals and 8 points, but he's got a +7 while only playing 13 minutes and 16 seconds per game, but he's a +7, not giving a lot of shots up and stuff like that too. And for the fact that his face-off percentage has been really, really good for the Hurricanes this year, like he's finding ways to make himself be known. I think this is a really good thing to have because right now, for this season, he's at a 57.3%, which is actually outside of the 21-22 season where he only played 2 games, which was at 80%. This season, his 57.3% is probably the best. It's his career best right now in terms of face-off percentage because last year was 55.3. And this season, too, he does have a game-winning goal, but his average time on ice is actually up by a whole minute. Last year, he played 12 minutes of average per game. Now, this season, he's averaging 13 minutes and 16 seconds. So he's averaging a minute more of ice time, and you're seeing how even if it's just a minute, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you extrapolate that over an 82-game season, that does add up. And he's finding ways to make it himself feel present enough to make Rod Brind'Amour, okay, this guy is doing everything I need him to do. Let's move him up to the second line. Let's see if he adds a spark to that group or adds that extra something that we need right now. And he's been doing that. So another guy I definitely keep an eye on is Jack Drury, because while, yes, like I said, the points aren't there, he's doing all the other little things that are making Rod Brind'Amour give him more opportunities, just like Jackson Blake, doing the things that he's doing to get more ice time for himself as well, because that's what Rod said. Rod will make it to where everyone's going to get their ice time, but if you are doing more and doing what you're asking of him, he will give you more ice time. But you've got to show that he can trust you. And if you're doing all the little things right and doing it the way that the team needs you to play, then you'll get those opportunities. And you're seeing that with, like I said, Jackson Blake and also Jack Drury. Now, the other guy I want to keep an eye on, of course, this is no-brainer. We've been talking about this guy a lot all season. It is Martin Necas. 12 goals, 25 assists, 37 points. He's a +8 in 22 games. Total time on ice is he's averaging almost 18 minutes a game. He's 5th in the forward group. He's actually 4th in the forward group with 53 shots behind Roslovic, Aho, and Svechnikov. Already a bunch of game-winning goals. Power play goals as well. He is now on a 4-game point streak. Just had 13 snapped against the Philadelphia Flyers last week. Now he's on a 4-game point streak. He's already back on another streak. If he got that point against the Flyers, he would already have the franchise, the Hurricanes relocated version of the franchise record for a point streak. Like, he would already be at 17 right now if 18 if he got that one against Philadelphia. That would have been 14, of course, these 4. He would be on an 18-game point streak right now if he got secured at least a point against the Flyers. But besides that, he had 13, lost it, is now restarted, is already up to 4. And the fact that he also leads the entire league in points. Like, that's how good of a season that Martin Necas is having. The fact that, okay, he didn't get a point against the Flyers. Okay, fine. Boom, here's another 4-game point streak. Gets a huge game-winning goal on the power play against the Dallas Stars. Adds 2 more assists in the Rangers game. And is putting himself into a good position where it's like, okay, now we're not even talking just the Hart Trophy conversation. Now we're talking Art Ross, maybe. And that's like for the guy who gets the most points for the entire league in that season. And right now he's on an 138 point pace. 183 would be huge, but 138 point pace is still really good. Will he hit that? I'm not sure. But if you're still in the high 110s, somewhere in the 120s, because 127 was it last year. So if he gets around to that position this season, that'd be really huge. And the fact that he's the first Hurricanes player to lead the league since Rod Brind'Amour did it, and the first Czech player to do it since Jacob Voracek, he's putting himself in some really good company of how he's making this a really great season for himself. And it's not just, he's just a flash in the pan. He did this for like a week or two. Like, no, we're 22 games in. He is well establishing himself right now as the best player, the best player on the Hurricanes this season so far, and also probably one of the top 5 players in the NHL as of right now. Will he keep this pace up? I don't know, but you have to appreciate the run that he's on. And I think that just for the fact that he keeps stepping up in bigger games and bigger games and bigger games, this is a huge one. You're talking a home-and-home back-to-back against the defending Stanley Cup champions. You just won on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. Now you're coming into Black Friday for an afternoon game. You know he wants to get that point streak up to 5. You know he wants to keep winning for the team and keep his points going. So I would not be surprised if we see another multi-point game from him, because he's got 12 multi-point games in his first 22. I could totally see Martin Necas getting another goal and assist or another 2 assists against the Panthers today. Honestly, if he was able to get a 3-point game and put himself to 40 points in the first 23 games of the season, would not be upset with that. Because he already beat Eric Staal in terms of games played to get to where he's at 37, and he beat him by 4 games. Eric Staal did it in 26. Martin Necas did it in 22. So who knows how big that difference is, where Eric Staal got to 40 points in that season for the Hurricanes, to where if Martin Necas gets 3 points today against the Panthers and gets up to 40 and 23, I would love to see the difference of games played for that to happen. So I'm hoping for another multi-point game, and hopefully we see 40 by the end of the day. But those are my 3 players to watch. Jackson Blake, Jack Drury, and of course Martin Necas. But like I said, for my keys of the game, let me know what your keys to the game are, and who are the 3 players that you're watching today when they take on the Florida Panthers. But with that being said, guys, that will be Friday episode of Lock. If you want to see everything that I got going on, you can check me out at @OneTrueZach.X. Podcast is LO_Hurricanes. I'm also on Blue Sky at @TheZachary_Martin if you want to check me out over there as well. I do have a link tree in both of those bios where you can check out all my articles at the Hockey Writers, or if you just want to go to thehockeywriters.com, you can find me. Find my author page at Zach Martin, and you can find all my articles over there. If you want to check out my other podcast, just go to the Search Cast on all podcast platforms on YouTube and check out that show over there. For this podcast, on Apple and Spotify, wherever you listen, just go to Locked On Hurricanes, subscribe, and make sure to leave a 5-star rating and review so that way I might read on the show for you guys. On YouTube, it's Locked On Hurricanes. But make sure to hit subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you don't miss a show. Hit the thumbs up button, let me know if you like the show as well. Share it with all other Caniacs and become everydayers just like you. But I hope everyone enjoyed this Friday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys watching your Hurricanes this afternoon, hopefully you got some good Black Friday deals. And hope everyone has a great weekend. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.